All right, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to be breaking down how to properly apply for a business credit card. I'm going to run you through the exact application of what to put on there, what to avoid, and how to maximize the amount of credit that you get from the banks. Now, look, it doesn't matter if you are brand spanking new to business, so the year just started for you, you just got your LLC, you just got your DBA set up, you just got your sole prop, you just opened up your business bank account, or you've been in business for some time. This video is going to give you either a brand new scope on how to properly apply for business credit, or it's going to serve you as a refresher. So in this video, I am going to pretty much take you from the moment you open an application to the moment that you submit the business credit card application. So if you are already in front of a desktop, feel free to follow along. If not, make sure to save this video and come back to it later on. Now, before jumping in over on my side, I'm going to assume that you already have the bare bones basics. So you already have potentially an LLC, you already have your EIN, because in this video, we're just gonna focus on the application itself. So if you don't have those things, no worries. You can always come back to this video and bring that back with you, or you can go ahead and again follow along as we do this application together. All right, so I am on the Chase website. Now, the reason why I chose Chase is because it's one of the more familiar banks that all of us most likely know about, right? So you have the tier A banks like US Bank is a tier A bank. You have American Express, you have Bank of America, you have Wells Fargo, whether you like them or not, right? And then we have Chase. Those are more of the tier A, grade A banks that most of us are familiar with. Now, the applications on each of these websites with every bank, they're going to have their own maybe style of the page, but the framework that I'm going to give you here, you can pretty much use it across the board. Now, there's going to be a couple of things that I'm going to be explaining along the way, like your NAICS code, your NAICS code, or the type of name that you have on your business, or even the address that you decide to use, because all of these are key indicators and little key factors that they use to grade your business and the validity of the business on whether or not they want to lend you money, right? This is all about data points and using those data points to your advantage. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and go here where it says business. Now you can either follow along or you can watch me do it, and you can just turn back to this video. I am going to click on where it says business credit cards right here. And then it's going to open up the page where all the business credit cards are located. Now, obviously you have, a wide selection, especially with Chase, but for the purpose of the video, we're going to keep it super simple. And we are going to go with a more popular choice, which is the Ink Business Unlimited, 0% interest for 12 months. This is super popular, especially amongst startups and entrepreneurs that are just looking to either get their feet wet in the business credit space that you're looking to get funding with. So 0% interest means that you have 12 months, 15 months, 18 months. That's pretty much just principal only, which is, again, a fantastic tool that you can use. And even if you are an existing business and you may be heavier on the inventory, maybe you have heavy equipment, if you are in the construction space, or if maybe you are in the trucking space, these are really credit cards, business credit cards that I would be taking a look at. Some of that 0% funding that we like to talk about. All right, so I've opened up the application. Again, this is going to vary. So if you have Chase, if you have US Bank open, it could look different from how Bank of America is. So first things first, before even filling out this application, if you have a business, so let's say that you establish a business. It happened to a recent client of ours inside of the Inside Inner Circle. They had a business established out in Georgia, but they live currently in Florida. And so they were wondering, okay, do we use the address or do we use our information based off of our LLC that's established out in Georgia, or do we use our address and our information that we have based over in Florida? So I'm going to give you my input on this. If you have a business that you operate and you're out of state, let's say that you don't have a foreign entity to operate in the state that you currently live in right now, and you just have that main, let's say, business structure, you want to use the address and you want to use the information where that business is registered. So in this case, that person has their business in Georgia. They live in Florida. That's going to make sense here in just a second, especially as we get to the mailing address part for both the personal and the business side. So first things first, when you are setting this up, you want to make sure that you know exactly who you are inside of your business, right? You could be a member of your business. You could be the owner. You could be a partner. You could be a president. You could be a treasurer. You could be a vice president. Like whatever it is that you are, in most instances, obviously I'm going to leave this up to you, but in most instances, you're going to want to select owner if that is your role. Maybe you 50-50 partner, you can go ahead and go with partner. So for the purpose of today, we're going to go with owner. So this is, again, my information. We're filling out my personal information first. So my first name, last name. Now, obviously, I'm going to be putting in some information here just for the purpose of the video. So some of this stuff may not be accurate, right? But I just want to, again, kind of, bring you along this journey, 1900. Bring you along this journey of what this process looks like. Your mother's maiden name. This is one of those differences that I was telling you about earlier that every bank has. With Chase, you have to be able to put your mother's maiden name. Now, if you don't have it, you might want to get that, because if not, they don't let you submit the application. And if you do and it's wrong, they could automatically flag and deny you. So you want to make sure that your mother's maiden name is not just a maiden name that you know, but it's one that's also registered. Like if she already has an account with Chase, make sure, this is like a little side note, make sure that it's the same maiden name that they have registered with them. So just a little tip there. So you'll go ahead and fill that out. For the purpose of the example, we'll just put test, right? Where your social goes. So another point here, if you have an ITIN, or if you have maybe a business partner and they're applying on the behalf of the business, because remember, if somebody in the business owns at least 25% or greater in the business, they can apply on behalf of the business, right? So if maybe you have a 50-50 partnership, and maybe your partner has a better credit score, you may want to put them as the primary. Because if you try to apply, and maybe, because remember, this is based off of a personal guarantee, which means that you're going to have to show that your personal credit is up to par, so at least a 720, 730, especially if your business isn't strong enough to stand on its own with its own credit, then you're going to have to use your social in this case, or in this case, your ITIN, right? So again, for the purpose of the example, we'll use the social, because this is essentially what they're going to use to be able to run my credit and then approve it on behalf of the business, right? So this is some quick funding that we can get for our business. Address type, you have two options. You have domestic or military. So let's just say that we live over on 123, I don't know, Happy Place, right? Not even sure where this is. If you live here, that'd be pretty cool, but I'm using this address so that we can move along the application. The email address, for this email address right here, you want to use your personal address. So you can, again, abc@yahoo.com. This is where you'll get confirmation emails if you've been approved, if you're denied. You want to use maybe your personal number right here. Boom. Okay. Now this is where things get fun. And this is where I am going to kind of slow things down, because this part's important. And so if you have, let's say you have your income, your personal income, let's say you still have a main job, or you have your job and then you have your business, it's not asking you necessarily for the business income here just yet, right? We're going to get to that in just a second. This is asking you for your total gross annual income. So let's say, and this happens quite a bit, but let's say that's husband and wife. Husband makes 100K, wife makes 100K. That would be 200K that you guys can put on the application, because you guys are within the same household. And then given you're most likely filing your taxes together, right? Or even if you're filing it separate, you're within the same household. Let's say, because this was a recent one, we had a client that was doing business with his brother, and they both lived together inside of the same household. So they realized that, hey, if we combine our incomes, we can maximize the amount of credits power that we get approved for. So in that case, I believe one brother was at 150, the other brother was at 75, so I think that puts us at 225. So they were able to put 225 total on the application. So for the purpose of today, we'll put 225 on here. Now we're getting to the business information part. And this is, again, if you have this, fantastic, you can follow along. If you don't, you can always come back to this video, save it, bookmark it, or send it to someone that you know is going to need it. Corporation, LLC, nonprofit, partnership, or sole prop. Most of us are most likely going to use an LLC. Now, you can continue on with the video even if you're not an LLC, but most of us have some type of structure set up. You can do a sole prop. And if you guys have been watching me for some time, the only reason why I'm not the biggest fan of a sole prop is because you don't have that corporate veil and that really like that protection between you, the person, and your business. So if God forbid something happens with the business, defaults, goes under, it doesn't necessarily reflect back to you, right? You can kind of pick back up and continue your process of rebuilding a new business. This is why you'll see some of these, mega companies where the CEO, you'll start to wonder, okay, wait a minute, the company just went bankrupt. How is the CEO now building up something else so fast? And it's because they know how to separate the personal liabilities or personal assets from the business liabilities, business assets. Now, that's not to say that you want to be reckless with the business credit cards, the business lines of credit that you get, that you just say, hey, I'm going to use up 2, 3, 4, 500 grand of it and then walk away. No, you still want to be responsible, right? So the business legal name, I'm going to open up this little window for you so you can see what it is, but I'll kind of paraphrase what it's saying. The business legal name is going to be different from the desired name that you want on the card, right? So let's say that my legal business name is Irv and Friends. Can't spell today. Friends LLC. Pretty cool name, right? That's the business legal name. But let's say that I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't want my the name on the business card to read that. I just want it to be Irv and Friends. I can go ahead and leave it like that. Or let's say if you say, hey, I want to be able to know if this is my card that I'm using or if it's my, let's say, business partner's card. So I can just go ahead and put the desired name on that card. I want it to say Irvin Pena on it, right? That's my first and last name. That's an option that you can do. I'll let you play around with that. But that is the difference that I kind of wanted to explain to you, so that way if you're wondering what is that the same thing? No, that's whatever it says on your LLC, your articles of organization. That's what you want to use on the business legal name, and then the desired business name on the card is what you want to use. Does your business use another name, like a trade name, assumed name, or a DBA, doing business as? Again, if you're a sole prop, let's say Irvin, right? But I'm doing business as Irvin Friends. As an example, you can go ahead and put yes, but in this case, we're going to put no. Now, employer identification number, your EIN. This is what you get from the IRS. You get it for free when you apply and when you build up your or when you establish your business for an LLC, if you elect for an S corp, whatever it is, you can get it for free right on the IRS website, or if you're going through a company like a LegalZoom or something like that, right? You can take that route as well. But this is going to be important because you never, and hear me clearly because this can save you a lot of headaches and keep you out of trouble. You never want to use your social security number in place of your EIN. And you never want to use your EIN in place of your social security number. You should keep both of those things separate and in their own places. Your social is what you would use to maybe personally guarantee a card. In this instance, you would personally guarantee this card where they would run your personal credit on behalf of your business. Maybe your business credit isn't established yet. You're not making well over into the millions in revenue. If you potentially haven't built up enough strong business credit, 9 times out of 10, you're going to personally guarantee a business credit card, right? But in this case right here, the other side of why you want to get in the habit of when you're building out your business credit and when you're using your EIN is because your EIN is going to get the credit, no pun intended, but it's going to get the credit for the payments that it's making. And so with a card like Chase, that debt or that utilization, if let's say you get approved for a $50,000 limit and you use $45,000 for maybe advertising, marketing, supplies, that $45,000 limit is not going to reflect over on the personal side. That's going to stay on the business side, which is another big reason of why you want to separate your personal credit from your business credit, because it allows you to know which one is which, right, for the purposes of. So when you have your EIN, you're building up your business credit. This is how you ultimately start to scale into getting more vendor lines, supplier lines, where now it's non-PG, which means you're not personally guaranteeing, right? But that only happens as you start to build up credit through your EIN. So I'll make one up here on the spot, right? So that way we can continue to go through the application. Is your business physical address the same as your personal address? For this, I'll let you decide. Let's say though, going back to the example of client inside of the Inside Inner Circle was in Georgia. We're helping them go through a round of funding, and they say, hey, we live in Florida though. What can we do in this instance? Some people, of what they do is obviously you're going to use the mailing address that you have for yourself. That's on the personal side. On the business side, let's say you have a brick and mortar, or let's say that you have a virtual office in that state. You will use the state that's associated, or you will use the address that's associated to that business entity in that state. But let's say that you're applying online and you're doing this same process that I'm running you through right now, and you say, but wait a minute, Irv, is it possible that I may get flagged if I'm not physically living inside of that state? The answer is yes. That could potentially raise a red flag, because the IP addresses that are being captured from the laptop that you're using, the system could say, well, wait a minute, this person is applying in Florida, or this person is applying, say, in Florida, and their business is located in Georgia. This might be a potential fraud. Not necessarily saying that you're doing something wrong or that you're doing something illegal. It's just the way that the system reads it. This is why, when possible, go in person to the branch and apply. If you can't, what you can do is you can either go into incognito mode. One of the reasons why I like incognito mode is because if there's a special offer on a credit card, you'll also see that special offer, versus if you've already visited the bank before, the cookies that's already read on the, let's say, on the bank's system for your IP address, it'll give you a previous offer. And so you could be leaving a better offer on the table, which is one, why I like to use incognito mode. Or the other option is you can use a VPN. A lot of people like VPNs, where you can pick the closest location to the bank that you're looking to apply for. So let's say if you have a VPN and you are applying you live in Florida, but your business is in Georgia, you can use that VPN to put yourself as if you're applying in Georgia. That's another route that a lot of people take. I wanted to bring that to your attention. Obviously, do your research on that to see which route you'd rather take. But all things being equal, you use your physical address for your business, meaning it's for your business, even if it's a virtual address. You use that, right? So when it's asking you, is your business physical address the same as your personal address? If it is, put yes. If it isn't, put no. And then if it says no, it'll ask you and prompt you to put the business address. So if it's, again, a virtual address, that's the address that you would use for your business. But for the purpose of the example, we'll put yes. Number of employees, only you can answer that. Make sure that you're not confusing employees with contractors. Two totally different things. One gets paid on a 1099 miscellaneous. The other one gets paid on a W-2, and they're actually on staff with you. So let's say that we have 2 employees. Business phone number. Again, this is one of those instances where you want to separate. Again, these are all data points that I'm giving you that the bank is going to look at. You want to separate your business address, personal address, EIN, social, your business phone number, personal phone number. And again, you can set up your own personal number or your own business phone number if maybe you have Verizon, if you have T-Mobile, if you have Sprint, they can go ahead and set you up even with a business credit account. If you bring in things like your EIN, just make sure that you're speaking to a small business account manager. If you wanted to take a faster route, you can go ahead and use smaller companies where, let's say, if you want to rent out a virtual address, sometimes they'll have like an upgraded feature where you can go ahead and upgrade and get yourself a virtual number with them, right? So that's another option that you can take, and that'll be counted as a business phone number. I'm not a big fan of using Google Voice. I've seen a lot of applications get denied with Google Voice just because in the algorithm it's not seen as an actual business phone number. Business established date. Major data point here, you guys. Pay close attention to this. The time that your business was established and when you decided to open up your business, you want to pay close attention to those dates because you could be leaving time on the table. So I'll run you through a quick scenario. Let's say that you've been, selling shirts since 2018, but your business wasn't formed just yet, or you had your LLC rather since 2018. You've been selling shirts, but your business wasn't the cleanest in terms of, you didn't have your business phone number, you didn't have your business bank account just yet, you didn't have, you weren't driving much revenue through it, but you already had kind of like, you were selling some things on the side, and you had that LLC. Even if you decided to go through all these steps today in 2023, technically, the date that you started your business wouldn't have been 2023. It would have been, 2018, right? So you're leaving 5 years on the table that your business has been established. So you want to take a look at, your LLC, and you want to see, okay, when did I open this LLC? And you see it's 2018, even if you weren't driving any revenue just yet, that's when your business was established. When it comes to annual business revenue, you can use projected revenue. Now, I say this very carefully because sometimes when I say this, people's eyes open up like this, right? and they say, oh my God, I saw this video on YouTube and this guy says that I can pretty much put whatever I want on there. I run a landscaping company. I run a t-shirt brand company, and I can put $1 million. I'm feeling, look, you want to be what I call a realistic optimist, right? You want to be realistic, but you also want to be optimistic. And so what you can do is you can, be optimistic. If I say, hey, I'm on pace to do, let's say I'm on pace to do 10K this month in, gross revenue, right? In total revenue. And I can take the floating average on that over the next 12 months. I can comfortably say 120K is what we'll be making, because you'll multiply 10K times the 12 months, right? Simple math here. 120,000. It's a potential number that I can use. Now, typically, once you go above that 250, 300, 400 range, you could start inching your way into a manual underwrite. What that means is that the bank is going to then require things like tax returns, bank statements if you have those. If you don't have tax returns, if you're a brand new business, bank statements, profit and loss statements, and so you're going to have to provide that documentation. Now, if you don't have that documentation, and if you don't want to have to present that documentation, if you just want to go off stated income, then this is why you want to be a bit more reasonable with the number that you select. Now, if you have those numbers, go at it. We have clients that they're putting on their $750, $800, $1 million. They can do that. Some of them can back it up. If you're not there just yet, just keep in mind, once you start going above that 250, 300, 400 range, that's when that documentation starts to become more and more important. So for the purpose of the example, let's say I'm feeling pretty optimistic, 300K is what we'll be making this year. The NAICS code, the business category in the business industry that you are in, can make or break the amount of funding that you get. I've seen businesses inside of our program go from not getting approved for anything at all to getting approved for just $250,000 like that, just by knowing the category of business that they're in and making those proper switches. And so I'll give you an example. If, let's say, you are in, I'll do a one that we just did. So let's say that you are in transportation, right? For my truckers out there, we know that sometimes if you're putting trucking on your applications, most likely you're getting denied, you're getting flagged, because trucking is seen as a higher risk. Don't ask me why, but they're just seen as a higher risk. And so from what we've seen, and again, this is going to change bank by bank, so you'll want to take a screenshot. That's another thing that I want you to know. Take screenshots of the entire application as you're going through it, because that way you can have consistent information of what you're putting on each application, right? Like the worst thing that you can do is you'll put, let's say that your projected revenue is 300, and then you'll go to American Express and you'll put 120, and then you'll go to, let's say, Citizens Bank and you'll put 65. Like, that's so sloppy, that's so messy that it'll just be automatic denials, which is one of the first things that we tell our clients is be consistent across the board. That's how we help them get access to more funding. So with the business type that you want to use is, in this case, from what we've seen, is other transportation, right? And then on business subtype, we saw that this sequence right here with NAICS code, or NAICS code, if you wanted to read it that way, is 488999. That's a 6-digit code. If you have no idea where you can find the NAICS code, if you already have a business credit card with the bank, you can call them up and ask them, hey, how's my business registered? And then if you wanted to, if you don't have any business credit cards just yet, and you already did your taxes, you filed your taxes, you can take a look at your Schedule C. On the top right-hand corner, it should tell you where or what number, in this case, what code is being used to classify your business. This piece right here can just make or break you getting approved for a penny, you getting approved for 100K, or you getting approved for absolutely nothing at all, because the classification is what determines not just the risk of your business, but the total pool of, on average, how much each business on average makes in that line of work. So a quick example of that is, let's say if I am in the pottery business, as a quick example off the top of my head, I'm in the pottery business and I have NAICS code 123456. And the average, let's say, business in there makes $450,000 a year. And I'm projecting to make $100,000 a year. At that point, I'm seen as a smaller fish. Versus if I maybe switched the NAICS code, that would still fit the type of work that I do. So let's say I do pottery design and NAICS code 123455, right? and then now the average business owner in that industry makes 200 grand and I'm at 120, then at that point I'm seen as okay, they're more likely on par with what this line of work is. So I hope that made sense. If it didn't, rewind that, because that's going to help save you a lot of heartache and a lot of headaches if you see those denials. Estimated monthly spend, we're almost finishing up, but estimated monthly spend, it's counterintuitive, but hear me out. If you put that your monthly spend is, let's say, a really low number, so let's say you're projected to really spend 50K between marketing, marketing, ads, shirts, maybe for your staff, supplies, heavy equipment, 50K, and you want it to, let's say, quote unquote, be more conservative, and you put 5K, 10K there, it can actually hurt you because the bank is going to see it as, well, they don't need as much credit as we could give them because they're not going to be using that much anyways. So in this situation, you'd want to inch your way up closer, maybe even a little bit more, to what you would be spending. So, again, for the purpose of the example, we'll put 45K as an example, right? The percentage of ownership, one of the last things that we want to note here, percentage of ownership, if it's 100%, just put 100%. So maybe it's just you're the sole prop, maybe you're 100% owner, single member LLC, put 100%. If it's 50-50, you could put 50% on there. Or if it's 25. As long as it's over 25%, you'll be able to apply for the business credit card. So this is one of the discussions that you want to have with your business partners of, okay, who's going to be on these, credit card applications. It's known as having like a credit partner, right? Almost like a co-signer. That's who's going to kind of carry the load for us so that we can continue to grow and scale our business. And then last but not least, if you wanted to add employee cards, you could. You would review all the info here about the card, the payment periods, all that. This is, again, their disclosure. You would put, I've read and agreed to the above terms, and then you would go ahead and submit the application. Obviously, I'm not going to submit the application because, we put information on here. That was just for the purpose of the video. But overall, this is how you would fill out a basic credit card application for a business credit card with Chase. Now, if, again, this was your first time maybe running through an application, you may want to, rewind the video, go through it again as I'm walking you through it. If this is something that you've already done a couple of times, just keep in mind of those data points that you really want to pay attention to. You want to know your NAICS codes. You want to see how your business is being seen in terms of the type of industry that it's established in, and then like the subcategory of the business that it's in, because that could make or break. And then, of course, pay attention to some of those addresses that you're using as well, whether you have a foreign entity, if it's just your LLC, if it's just you, if you're operating inside of your home. All of those are data points that you want to have in line, and you want to make sure that they are just in sequence across the board, whether you are filing just with Chase or if you are applying with other maybe credit unions or banks as well. So there you have it. If you found value in this content, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Don't forget that anytime that I'm not posting on here, I'm posting over on the podcast style channel, which is the Insight with Irv channel. So if you like what we have going on over here, you'll love what we have going on over there. Once again, I appreciate you guys checking this out. Until next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.